All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Walter White. I'm a senior at the University of Memphis with a major in the Japanese language. And today I'll be teaching you a few phrases that I think are interesting, but I'm going to put a little twist on it. Today I'm going to be teaching you some different ways that anime and manga characters may also say these phrases. Now let's begin. So today I'm going to be taking you through this website. Now this website is animemanga.jp. It's created by the Japan Foundation, Japanese Language Institute in Kansai region. Now the first thing you're going to want to do when you open this website is to go up here and enable Flash. Okay, it's going to ask you to reload. Okay, now let's hop right in. So I speak English, but it's also available in Spanish, Korean, Chinese, and French. Now this is what it looks like when you first load up the page. Today we're going to be going through character expressions, as the phrases that I'd like to teach today are within here. But they also have expressions by scene, which help you see these phrases used more in conversations or the certain situations that they may be used in anime and manga. Then there's the word quizzes and the kanji game, which is fun if you have a friend and you might want to have a little friendly competition, or if you have a classroom setting and you want to have a team game. So hopping into the character expressions, it may take a little while to load. Be patient. It was pretty quick for me. So we're going to go to the character lineup. So these are our 8 characters that we're going to be focusing on today. And down here is where you choose expressions. So the 3 phrases that I'll be teaching you today are going to be the good morning and hello, the I'm sorry, and I like you / I love you. Okay. Oh, and don't forget up here, if you can read kanji and katakana, you can choose here. They also have all kana and all romaji. I'll be going through the romaji version today. Okay. So our first phrase for good morning / hello will be ohayo and konnichiwa. Right? Ohayo is good morning in Japanese, and konnichiwa is how you say hello. Now, starting with our boy, this is how he would say good morning.
Ohayo.
Right? Very simple. It's pretty standard. Now, going over to our girl, she sounds like this.
Ohayo.
Notice that the girl doesn't have the U at the end. It's more shortened, more cutesy kind of way. Now, the boy and girl are very typical of like school manga or, shonen manga, romance, things like that. Then we have our scrapper. He's more common to the typical shonen manga. He's the kind of the tough guy, the cool guy. And this is how he would sound.
Yo, os.
So yo, like what's up? And os. It's also like what's up. Now moving on, we have our samurai. Now, we've all seen samurai films before, I'm sure. But if you haven't, then you should. I think they're very entertaining. Now this is how he would sound. So gokigen ikaga de gozaru ka, which is a very archaic way of saying good morning or hello. Now our old man, he sounds like this. So, oh, yo, kitano. I hope I did that impression right. So it's more of a drawn out thing. He's kind of old, he's really old actually. And also martial arts teachers often sound like this as well. Now moving on, we have our butler. And he sounds like this. Right. Omezame is to open your eyes, basically. So o mezame wa ikaga desu ka? Goshujin sama is mistress or master. So basically, were you able to awaken? All right, mistress. Moving on to the lady. She sounds like this. So gokigenyo is similar to the gokigen in the samurai, which is actually the same. But then she adds the yo at the end, which sounds more airy and more ladylike. And next is our Osaken. Now, Osakens actually do exist in real life. They're not, a fictional thing. And they sound like this. Maido. It's just a Kansai dialect way of saying hello. You may actually hear this in real life. Now, moving on. Our next phrase is, I'm sorry. So the standard phrase would be, sumimasen. Sumimasen. This is a very useful phrase, not only for I'm sorry, but maybe for excuse me, or just if you want to ask a favor, sometimes you would start it off with sumimasen, like I'm sorry, I have to ask this favor of you. Now, starting with our boy, he sounds like this. Now, gomen is a shortened version of gomen nasai, which also means I'm sorry. So gomen ne, boys, well, young characters often end their phrases in ne. It's more to show their youth. Now our girl, she sounds pretty much the same, actually exactly the same. She sounds like this. Right. Now moving on to our scrapper, he sounds like this. So warui is bad. So warukatta na, which means that was bad. So basically, I'm sorry that was bad. Now, samurai, he sounds like this. So suman is a shortened form of sumanai, which is a shortened form of sumimasen here. And minbokunai is more of a archaic way of saying the same thing. Now, moving on to our old man, he sounds like this. Now, it's basically the same suman in the samurai, but he adds the no at the end. It's more drawn out because he's elderly. Now, moving on to our butler, he sounds like this. So, moshiwake gozaimasen is a very formal way of saying sumimasen, as he is a butler. He's pretty subservient to his mistress or master. All right, moving on to our lady, she sounds like this. So gomen nasai is just an elongated form of gomen ne. So basically just gomen nasai is a very standard way of saying sumimasen. You can actually hear this in everyday language. Very formal though. Well, not very formal, but it's a more formal way of saying gomen. Then our Osaken sounds like this. So sumimasen is a slang form of sumimasen used in the Kansai dialect. And kannin is another Kansai dialect version of sumimasen, just meaning I'm sorry. Now, our final phrase is I like you or I love you. So the standard phrase would be watashi wa anata ga suki desu, or just suki desu for I like you. So watashi is I, anata is you, and then suki desu is like. So I like you. So our boy would sound like this.
僕、君のこと好きだよ。
So a boy would use boku, a young boy would use boku, trying to act a little tough, instead of watashi. That's his version of I. And kimi is you. And then nokoto is just putting emphasis on you. And then tsukida dayo is, or tsukides. So basically, I like you. And our girl sounds like this.
私、君が大好き。
So she wants to make it cutesy. So she says atashi. She drops the wa and just says atashi. And here, kun is the suffix often added to a young boy's name that the character is particularly close to. So basically, this would be his name and then kun. Daisuki. So she usually draws out her words to make it sound really cutesy. Also, they sometimes add symbols in manga to show how cutesy it is. And daisuki is basically like big like, so love. So I love Nani Nani Kun. Now our scrapper sounds like this.
俺はお前のことを愛してるぜ。
So he's a lot cooler than the boy. So he uses ore, and in this case he adds an a to it. So orea. Omae is just I wouldn't say derogatory, but a rougher way of saying you. And then he also uses the nokoto, and then aishiteruze is the love. These characters often use the suffix ze at the end of their sentences. It's just a replacement for des. And then the samurai would sound like this.
拙者はそなたを愛おしく思っておる。
So seisha is warrior speak basically for I, and then wa. And sonata is just anata. O, and then otoshiku omote oru. So otoshiku is an archaic way of saying to be fond of, and then omote is to think, and oru is just another way of saying des. So basically, I think I am fond of you. Now our old man sounds like this.
わしはあんたに惚れとるんじゃ。
So our old men often use washi as a replacement for watashi. It's a very wise sounding. So our martial arts teachers often use this as well in anime and manga. And then anta is basically you, and then ni horetorun ja. Our old men often end their sentences in ja, basically just to let the audience know that they're old and wise. And horetorun is to find somebody, to be fond of someone. Now next, moving on to our butler, he sounds like this.
一生お嬢様のおそばで見守っております。
So isho is together, and ojo-sama is what he would call his mistress or his master. And then osobade is always to be beside someone. And then mima motte orimasu is to watch over. So basically he'll watch over his mistress or master forever. Now moving on to the lady, she sounds like this.
私、あなたのこと愛してますわ。
So our ladies often replace watashi with watakushi. It's just a sharper sounding, more proper. And then anata is also you. She also uses the nokoto to emphasize anata. And aishitemasu is to love. And our ladies often end their sentences with wa to make it sound more airy, more floaty. And then last but not least, we have our osaken, and they sound like this.
わし、あんたのこと好きやで。
So our osaken also uses the washi instead of watashi, similar to the old man. And then anta, you, he also uses the nokoto. Now, this is a special Kansai dialect thing. He says, "Sukya de." It's basically "ski desu." All right. Now, going back to myself, hopefully. All right. So, I hope we have learned a lot of helpful phrases today. I first got interest in these phrases through my translation course. I got really interested in the socio-cultural aspect of the language. And I think it's important to know that these phrases that I taught you today can be used in everyday Japanese. However, the ones that are from anime and manga will make you stand out and look a little strange. But I just thought it would be fun to teach you these things. So similar to the way that like an anime samurai might be portrayed with like orange hair and like a giant sword, these phrases also would make you stand out a lot, and they should be known as fiction. Now, before I leave, I want to teach you one more phrase that is used every day. Of course, it would be goodbye. So to say goodbye, you would say sayonara or ja mata. Sayonara, ja mata. So I hope that after today, you look closely at the anime and manga that you watch and listen and read, and look out for these phrases. So, ja mata.